Right, here we are, Miracle Work, chapter 15. Monday morning, 10 a.m. or 1 a.m. or 3 a.m. or however. Here we are. And the Holy Instant is happening. We're looking at the laws of God and the Holy Instant today. And that is great. It's another invitation to I say, open ourselves for the Holy Instant and see how inevitable it is, how much it is part of you that you didn't even know. It's more like that. So this is all going to help with that. That's the lovely part of it. But we cannot do that without knowing the basics at the same time too. Like knowing in the sense of releasing all kinds of other ideas that could hold us back from opening up completely to an idea of timelessness. And what I'm pointing at is lesson 7 that we're going to read. Like lesson 7 tells us about how this works. Like, what is it actually that I'm seeing? If I wouldn't know that, then I would think that something is really going on. If I didn't know that I'm only looking at the past, I would take it serious and think that there's really something happening, and that there's really someone out there, and that there's really an occurrence in time that needs my attention. All that has not occurred. It's over, it's gone. What you perceive is not there. Just like your upsets. So this is the workbook of A Course in Miracles, and that's where we start with. So we're going to read lesson 7, which is a lovely lesson in which the first 7 lessons accumulate, in fact, and shows us why it is that nothing I see means anything, and why I'm never upset for the reason that I think. It has everything to do with lesson 7. I see something that's already over. I see only the past. It's gone, it's over, it's not there. And how much you try to bring it back into this present moment, it is not going to last. It is not there. So that's an interesting construct, isn't it? So you're familiar with time, you're familiar with your past, and you're familiar with perception, and you really think there's something going on. Wow, that's not true. So this is what we're dealing with today. So the laws of God must be completely different than the laws of man. And it becomes obvious if we cannot even trust our perception, then where are we? That's how deep we start today. And it's great because all of this is for the liberation from you, for you, like the liberation of setting yourself free of an idea that you have anything to do with what you see and what you think you see as yourself, because that's where it has to do with too. So it's like it has to do with your identification. If you think that you are more than mind, then you're mistaken. If you think you're more than being present in this instant, you're mistaken. If you think you live on a timeline, you're mistaken. If you think you have a future, you're mistaken. Now that sums it up, doesn't it? So that's great. So this is really fundamental, basic teaching of A Course in Miracles that is totally helpful to give you this holy instant in which you recognize your source and actually start to communicate with it. Because that's what you want. You don't want this. You don't want anything from this world. You don't want what you see. You don't want the conflict, the terror, the temporalness of this. You don't want to die. You don't want the conflict. So all of this is being undone, you could say. It is undone in the holy instant. In that instant, you actually recognize your true source and communicate with it directly. And this makes you so incredibly happy, because it is the release of your bondage to space and time. It literally is your freedom that you're actually entering into, recognizing that that freedom is you and not anyone else and not anything else. And it does not come with conditions. It does not come with, like, you need to do this first or you need to do that first. None of it. So that's really awesome. So let's see what lesson 7 will tell us. So here we go. Lesson 7. I see only the past. This idea is particularly difficult at first, yet it is the rationale for all the preceding ones and all the preceding lessons. It is the reason why nothing that you see means anything. It is the reason why you have given everything you see all the meaning it has for you. It is the reason why you do not understand anything you see. It is the reason why your thoughts do not mean anything and why they are like the things you see. It is the reason why you are never upset for the reason you think. It is the reason why you are upset because you see something that is not there. Old ideas about time are very difficult to change because everything you believe is rooted in time and depends on your not learning these new ideas about it. Yet that is exactly why you need new ideas about time. This first time idea is not really so strange as it may sound at first. Look at a cup, for instance. Do you see a cup, or are you merely reviewing your past experiences of picking up a cup, of being thirsty, drinking from a cup, feeling the rim of a cup against your lips, having breakfast, and so on? Are not your aesthetic reactions to the cup too based on past experiences? How else would you know whether or not this kind of cup will break if you drop it? What do you know about this cup except what you learned in the past? Would you have no idea what this cup is except your past? You would have no idea what this cup is except for your past learning. Well, do you then really see it? Look about you. This is equally true of whatever you look at. Acknowledge this by applying the idea for today indiscriminately to whatever catches your eye. For example, I see only the past in this pencil. I see only the past in the shoe. I see only the past in this hand. I see only the past in that body. I see only the past in that face. Do not linger over any one thing in particular, but remember to omit nothing specifically. Glance briefly at each subject and then move to the next. So this is what we're going to practice now for just 1 minute. And we do this, like I see only this, I see only that. I see only the past in this, and I see only the past in that. So let's take like half a minute or a minute or so to do so. So that's so great. I love these exercises. They're so simple but so fundamental, and we cannot do without them today. It's like, you will see, it will come back. It will come back in what we share. So going back to all these amazing paragraphs in chapter 15, looking at all different angles at the holy instant and what it implies, in fact, what is given in it, and that is so lovely. So I'm so happy to take time to dive into it and look with you what it actually says, what is written. The holy instant and the laws of God. The holy instant and the laws of God. See, that's interesting. So we had the holy instant and special relationships. The holy instant is like the holy instant and the laws of God. And there were more. We did more. I've got the titles of them, to be honest. But this is wonderful. So, and there will be more, like the holy instant and real relationships will be the next, I think. And the holy instant and communication. So you see, like all these aspects, it is huge. It's amazing what we're actually discovering here. So, and this all is just for you to make it easier to allow yourself a holy instant. That it would take away all fear to let that happen. All right, all separation vanishes as holiness is shared. All separation vanishes as holiness is shared. It's like the light. For holiness is power, and by sharing it, it gains in strength. Just like ideas, like you share an idea. Now there's two of us who know this, who actually got to this. So when you share an idea, when you share power here, by sharing it, it gains in strength. If you seek for satisfaction in gratifying your needs as you perceive them, you must believe that strength comes from another, and that what you gain he loses, as if you can take something from someone. Someone must always lose if you perceive yourself as weak. So this is with the idea of something three-dimensional that you think you need in order to satisfy a need that you perceive. But it has to do with the three-dimensionality, like it has to do with the three dimensions, because of if you give that away, if I have a ball, I give the ball away to you, I don't have a ball anymore. And of course this principle you see a lot with the idea of money. If I give you $100, I don't have the $100 anymore. Yeah, so this is a fundamental principle in the human thinking, that you think that you can lose something based on a three-dimensional idea of something that you perceive with your eyes, which we just knew that, in fact, I see only the past. So you do not find it difficult to believe that when another calls on God for love, your call remains as strong. So that it's not difficult for you to believe this. When somebody else is calling for love, for God's love, your call still remains as strong. That's not so difficult to believe. What you find it difficult to accept is the fact that, like your father, you are an idea. And like him, you can give yourself completely without loss and only with gain. Now, this is really like the most incredible expression. What you find it difficult to accept is the fact, like your father, that you are an idea. And like him, you can give yourself completely, wholly, without loss, and only with gain. Now this is really great. So where is this based on, that this expression is in here? Like, what makes it that you can give yourself completely to God and not lose anything? How is that possible? You know, like, it has everything to do with how you see yourself. So first of all, if you accept yourself as an idea in God's mind, an idea, is like as a thought in God's mind, then it is easy. If you think you're this three-dimensional entity walking around on a planet in a universe, then you think that this is sacrificed in order to come to God, like as if you are going to sacrifice that, as if something's being asked of you that you rather not lose. So seeing yourself as an idea, as a thought in the mind of God, which you are, there can be no loss. No, it gains in strength. By you giving yourself completely to God, the whole thing, so to speak, gains in strength. There's literally nothing lost. See, only the temporal ideas of three-dimensionality are the things that you think you're going to, miss or something. But that's firmly, rooted in the belief that you are that. So this is essential in discovering what then actually the holy instant is, because this holy instant, you are reminded that you are an idea in God's mind, and that you're completely unified with God, that it is one and the same, and that there's no sacrifice being asked, since you are a thought of God and nothing else. So you see, everything has to do with identification, and the only obstacles that you are experiencing are, say, ideas about yourself as you see yourself, but not as you were created by God. That's the difficulty, or that's the conflict in your mind. Okay, here we go. Herein lies peace, for here there is no conflict. In the world of scarcity, love has no meaning and peace is impossible. In a world of scarcity, like for instance, a three-dimensional world where I give the ball away and now I don't have a ball. Like that's a world of scarcity. So it's a three-dimensional world in which you can lose things. If that body is not with me, I lost it. Like if this one person is no longer in his body, I'm losing it. And while I'm actually totally loving this one person, now I just lost what I loved. So peace is impossible. Love has no meaning because it is based on a temporal idea, on a scarcity principle. That can never be love. For gain and loss are both accepted, and so no one is aware that perfect love is in him. See, gain and loss are both accepted. That's the problem. It's like a dualistic idea that makes it impossible for you to experience perfect love, and which you are, and which is the purpose of you being here temporarily to discover what just that is, perfect love. So perfect love has nothing to do with a three-dimensional definition of anything or anyone. Now see, here comes the holy instant. In the holy instant, well, here we are. In the holy instant, you recognize the idea of love in you and unite this idea with the mind that thought it and could not relinquish it. By holding it within itself, there was no loss. See, and this is in fact so simple. But for you, believing that you're a three-dimensional entity walking on this earth, being afraid to lose someone, being afraid to having to sacrifice something, it becomes really difficult to enter into a holy instant. But in the holy instant, that all dissolves. Like you literally recognize yourself as an idea in the mind of God and completely united with it at the same time. It's like minds can communicate. Like you are literally communicating with God's mind in your whole recognition of your idea-ness, you could say, like the fact that you are an idea, that you are a thought in the mind of God. How could you not be united? That's literally impossible. So I love this, the way that it's being brought to you. It's like slowly but certainly, like this becomes so clear. Like, no, there's nothing to hold on to. No, there's no such thing as a three-dimensional form that is going to define you. It's impossible. The past is over. What I see is not there. You know, it's like all places, all. It's like there's only one thing that is going to be left over out of this. That what is. That what already is, and that you can never lose. So yeah, you can say all the three-dimensionality that we have been, I'm saying we, like we have been holding on to, was just to anchor us into a denial of the love of God, to anchor us into an idea that there can be such thing as separation from God. Like we wanted to experience that drama. We wanted to experience the separation. We want to experience it as long as we do, to establish ourselves in a three-dimensional world. And that's insane, obviously. Like, if perfect love is given to you, like the one thing you look for on this planet, perfect love, it is given you, but it has nothing to do with your three-dimensional experience of yourself. Perfect love is given you every instant you let this moment be a holy instant. You can share it with your brother. You can join and unite completely until you don't know even what to do with your happiness up to that point. And then you say like, no, I'd rather look for love here, or I'd rather look for love there. But yeah, perfect love will come one day, but I'm not sure. Like, I probably need to suffer some more through all of this. And while you at the same time could decide to let your three-dimensional idea about yourself go and come to the recognition of your wholeness in God as a whole idea in God. And that is really like how simple that is. So if you accept ideas of gain and loss, if you think that any of those things are real, you're stuck in the three-dimensional world. So no one is aware that perfect love is in him. In the holy instant, you recognize the idea of love in you and unite this idea with the mind that thought it and could not relinquish it. By holding it within itself, there was no loss. The holy instant thus becomes a lesson in how to hold all your brothers in your mind, experiencing not loss but completion. From this, it follows that you can only give, and this is love, for this alone is natural under the laws of God. God only gives, like that's the law of God. God only gives. In the holy instant, the laws of God prevail, and only they have meaning. The laws of the world cease to hold any meaning at all. And you see this in your awakening. So it becomes more and more obvious. Like it becomes more and more obvious that you are an idea in the mind of God. And uniting in that is your fulfillment, is your completion. And everyone is welcome in that. Like I always say this, like in an experience of oneness, you literally see everyone is there. There's not one of us missing out. That is the completion and fulfillment that you want. So then three-dimensional ideas and so-called temptations in this world, yeah, lose all their taste, so to speak. Like they don't do it for you anymore. Like they dissolve, in fact. You have no interest in them anymore because of your recognition of this perfect peace and perfect love and your experience of that. Like that does it. So it's not that you have to say like I don't value anything in the world. No, it's more like you start to see it, and it's suddenly it becomes clear that that is not an option to you anymore. Like it's, yeah. So continue, but this is great stuff. I love it. I love it. In the holy instant, the laws of God prevail, and only they have meaning. The laws of this world cease to hold any meaning at all. When the Son of God accepts the laws of God as what he gladly wills, it is impossible that he be bound or limited in any way. In this instant, he is as free as God would have him be. For the instant that he refuses to be bound, he is not bound. Wow, this is so clear, right? This is unbelievable. The instant that he refuses to be bound, he is not bound. So the decision, in fact, is yours. You accept this and you're not bound. You actually step right into your, say, unlimitedness, into your freedom. In the holy instant, nothing happens that has not always been. Only the veil that has been drawn across it is lifted. That's all. Like the holy instant is in that sense constant. You can count on it. It is in that sense always the same. Like it will not change. It is completely, but really completely dependable. So the only thing that changed was the veil that was on top of it, so to speak, so that you couldn't see it. But now, since that is going to be lifted in this holy instant, you see the constancy of God as a bright light shining and seeing that you are a whole part of that. Nothing has changed. So that's why there's also no sacrifice. Nothing has changed. But the awareness of changelessness comes swiftly as the veil of time is pushed aside. Now we're really getting into an awakening experience. You know, this is your awakening experience that is being described here with words. It's amazing. The awareness of changelessness comes swiftly as the veil of time is pushed aside. No one who has not yet experienced the lifting of the veil and felt himself drawn irresistibly into the light behind it can have faith in love without fear. Yet the Holy Spirit gives you this faith because he offered it to me and I accepted it. No one who has not yet experienced the lifting of the veil and felt himself drawn irresistibly into the light behind it can have faith in love without fear. Like if you're not attracted to the light that's actually being presented here, then you have faith in, like you don't really believe in love without fear. Like you still associate love with fear is in fact what this says. It's like you're still confusing the two, love and fear. If you knew like how changeless this is that is being presented, how absolutely reliable it is, and how incredibly, irresistibly attractive this is to you, then you can move, say, beyond the veil. Yet the Holy Spirit gives you this faith because He offered it to me and I accepted it. He gives you the faith that there's nothing to fear. He offered it to me and I accepted it. Fear not, the holy instant will be denied you, for I denied it not. Fear not, the holy instant will be denied you, for I denied it not. Like, you are entitled to the holy instant. It is yours. For in the holy instant you will recognize the only need the aspects of the Son of God share equally, and by this recognition you will join with me in offering what is needed. It is through us that peace will come. Join me in the idea of peace, for in ideas minds can communicate. Yeah, here we go again. It's like, in ideas minds can communicate. Not in matter, not in bodies, not in three-dimensional objects. Minds can, yeah. Three-dimensional objects don't communicate, but ideas do. Like, ideas, in ideas minds can communicate. So join me in the idea of peace, for in ideas minds can communicate. And that becomes really a joy. It's like, forget about you being a body, of thinking that you're a body. Forget about this world for just a moment. You don't want to miss out on this, is really what the invitation is. Like, fear not that it will be denied to you. No, you have complete access to it. You can, this is given you. Like, there's no prerequisites for it. So leave your three-dimensional idea about yourself and you find your mind communicating with the mind of God. How about that? So if you would give yourself as your Father gives His self, you will learn to understand selfhood. And therein is love's meaning understood. But remember that understanding is of the mind, and only of the mind. Knowledge is therefore of the mind, and its conditions are in the mind, with it. So we continue with the idea of idea. If you were not only an idea and nothing else, you could not be in full communication with all that ever was. But as long as you prefer to be something else besides an idea, or would attempt to be nothing else and something else together, the language of communication, which you know perfectly, will not be remembered. You will not remember it. So this is why, like I said, like the three-dimensionality, this three-dimensional time-space identification that you carry with you as an idea about yourself, you will have to drop it in order to be, say, purely mind and being able to communicate with the mind of God. In the holy instant, God is remembered, and the language of communication with all your brothers is remembered with Him. For communication is remembered together, as is truth. There is no exclusion in the holy instant, because the past is gone. Here we are. There's no exclusion in the holy instant, because the past is gone, and with it goes the whole basis for exclusion. Well, let's bring up some examples of the exclusion of using the past against each other. What you see now, and when you turn on the news, for instance, what you see now is like the exclusion of any kind of group is based on past ideas. There's no exception to it. Why? Because what is there to compare and exclude in this present moment? Nothing that would be based on a past idea that is already over. Now tell me, do these conflicts make any sense? No, of course not. So it is with you. Like any idea that you give to yourself, in fact, you use to exclude yourself from your wholeness. Any definition that you walk around with about yourself that is not, say, right now, is only there to keep you in time. So this is what say easily can dissolve in the holy instant. Because if you want to do this, if you want to be something else, but the perfection, excuse me, if you want to be something else than what is present now, you want to be present now and something else, that is not going to go together. That's not working, because you want to drag a past idea into this moment. So that's why we continuously say, let go of the past, let go of this backpack full of ideas, of past ideas, or who knows how you can express this. But it comes down to the same action of mind, is that you are an idea in God's mind. And ideas, it's like in this mind which takes place, you are completely united with the mind of God. Like in your mind and God's mind are one. My mind and your mind are one. So if I use this definition of myself as an, I don't know how old I am, 50-something body walking around on this earth, having this characteristic with the face and the hair and the orange shirt and sitting in a chair, thinking that that is me, you will not be able to get out of here, to get out of this idea. While this idea is only establishing a picture that is already over, like we saw in, like, I'm seeing only the past. In this person that I see, in this body, in this definition, in this configuration, I see only the past. It's gone, it's over. It is not able to communicate whatsoever. So this is really getting somewhere. In the sense, look, during your day, today for instance, look around and see what happens. Are we actually in communication with one another? Absolutely not. You want to have some proof of that? Go and see. So do some experiments here. So it's really like, this is not what communication is. So in order to communicate, you have to let go of that there is a person sitting in front of you talking to you. But you go beyond that, letting go of any kind of, say, definition that you put on it, and see yourself disappear in a holy instant together with your brother, communicating perfectly. But it has nothing to do with this three-dimensional definition of yourself, because it dissolves. It literally dissolves. In this communication, say, in allowing yourself the veil to be lifted, the light that is shining right underneath all of that has your attention, has your complete attraction, because it's literally your way home. That's what's occurring. That's where you're, say, heading to in your spiritual awakening. So up to the point that you haven't let go of any of this, nothing has happened, in fact. You can read as many books, you can listen to as many tapes, you can do whatever you want, you can sit still for so long time. But if you are not allowing yourself to drop these ideas as an action of mind, recognizing, say, for just one moment that the love of God is what you want to experience, not knowing how to do that, but being completely open and receptive to let go anything, any obstacle that appears to be in the way, it happens to you. Now that is exactly what is being offered here in this chapter. continuously in all kinds of ways. But now we have a different aspect coming to it, like the laws of God are being, say, dragged into your attention. God only gives. So is there a reason to be afraid to give yourself completely to God? Well, if I think I am this, yes, there's a reason to be afraid, because this might completely dissolve. It might just disappear, who knows what. But this thing is not experienced in the holy instant. This is not what I am. So recognizing the fact that I am an idea in the mind of God, a thought of God, and seeing that my mind is able to communicate as long as I don't give any kind of matter, uh, definition to it, I'm disappearing into light. So that's our little chapter here, paragraph. Well, it's not little, it's amazing. In the holy instant, God is remembered, and the language of communication with all your brothers is remembered with Him. For communication is remembered together, as is truth. There is no exclusion in the holy instant, because the past is gone, and with it goes the whole basis for exclusion. So exclusion can only take place on past ideas. God and the power of God will take their rightful place in you, and you will experience the full communication of ideas with ideas. Through your ability to do this, you will learn that you must be, because you will begin to understand what your Creator is and what His creation is along with Him. All right, don't try to understand this, but this is what you're going to discover. That's all that it really says. And once you experience this, you start to understand, and it becomes so clear in your mind what is going on that you cannot understand that anyone is not understanding this. And actually it is different. It's like you understand that this communication is taking place, and that the whole idea that there was something else is insane. All right, so this is our prayer. So I'll repeat this once more. God and the power of God will take their rightful place in you, and you will experience the full communication of ideas with ideas. Like I mentioned many times, it's like communication with every aspect of creation. It's like ideas with ideas. Through your ability to do this, you will learn that you must be, because you will begin to understand what your Creator is and what His creation is, along with Him. Wow, that's nice. That's a great provision. So are you looking forward to it? Are you ready for that? Do you want to experience that? Oh my God, that's so great. Why not now? Like, doesn't seem too difficult. Letting ideas go about time, letting ideas go about yourself that aren't true anyway, that cannot really be called a sacrifice, does it? So seeing that the love of God is within you, that it is always there, it's changeless, that that it's based on an idea of completion and uniting each other with each other. It sounds very attractive, doesn't it? So we practice this, and we're going to pray a miracle prayer that probably supports this idea completely. So let's do this now. So this is lesson of today, lesson 345. I offer only miracles today, for I would have them be returned. Father, a miracle reflects your gifts to me, your Son, and every one I give returns to me, reminding me the law of love is universal. even here, it takes a form which can be recognized and seen to work. The miracles I give are given back in just the form I need to help me with the problems I perceive. The miracles I give are given back in just the form I need to help me with the problems I perceive. Father, in heaven it is different, for there are no needs. But here on earth, the miracle is closer to your gifts than any other gift which I can give. Then let me give this gift alone today, which, born of true forgiveness, lights the way that I must travel to remember you. Peace to all seeking hearts. The light has come to offer miracles to bless the tired world. It will find rest today, for we will offer what we have received. Peace to all seeking hearts today. The light has come to offer miracles to bless the tired world. It will find rest today, for we will offer what we have received.
Je n'offre que des miracles aujourd'hui, car je voudrais qu'ils me soient rendus. Père, un miracle reflète les dons que tu me fais. À moi, ton Fils. À moi, ton Fils. Et chaque miracle que je fais m'est rendu, me rappelant que la loi de l'amour est universelle. Même ici, il prend une forme qui peut être reconnue et vue à l'œuvre. Les miracles que je donne me sont rendus exactement sous la forme dont j'ai besoin pour m'aider avec les problèmes que je perçois. Père, au ciel c'est différent, car là, il n'y a pas de besoin. Mais ici sur terre, le miracle est plus près de tes dons. Le miracle est plus près de tes dons qu'aucun autre don que je puisse faire. Que je fasse donc aujourd'hui ce seul don qui, né du pardon véritable, éclaire la voie que je dois parcourir pour me souvenir de toi. Paix à tous les cœurs qui cherchent aujourd'hui. Paix à tous les cœurs qui cherchent aujourd'hui. La lumière est venue offrir des miracles afin de bénir le monde fatigué. Il trouvera le repos aujourd'hui, car nous offrirons ce que nous avons reçu. Merci.